Hey YouTube, welcome to Sunken's Lab. Today I have a standard RU match in Pokemon Showdown. This team that I made is actually based around my Hitmonchan. It's basically just my Hitmonchan with 2 offensive threats that can cover its weaknesses and 2 defensive threats that can, take hits. And then a Sceptile that can just basically outspeed everything. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. And looking at his team, I really don't see much of a defensive threat that I need to worry about. I don't need to worry about anything that's going to set up immense amounts of hazards because nothing on this team can set up spikes, and Stealth Rocks aren't really that terrible to this team, and Toxic Spikes can be absorbed by 2 members of my team, so I'm really not worried too much about hazards, so that Nidoqueen is not really too much of a threat to me. It can take on my Hitmonchan relatively well, so I would like to get it out of the way, and I also would like to get that Tangrowth whittled down as much as possible. So that's basically my mind state going into this battle. Right off the bat, I make a terrible play. I actually lead with my Drapion and hoping that I can sweep his whole entire team, hoping that he would make a bad play. Just give me the chance to set up enough to sweep his whole team. So I go straight for the Swords Dance, I Earthquake his Nidoqueen, and his Nidoqueen goes down straight off the bat. And here is where this is such a terrible play. I mean, I go for the Crunch on his Tentacruel, and he puts me to sleep. Now, that's one of my huge offensive threats in this team, asleep, and that is terrible. And I also can't even stay in and try to wake up because I don't want him setting up Leech Seeds and Giga Drains on me and just, sapping my health down. So, unfortunately, I am forced to switch out. I switch into my Entei because I know I can scare him out with the Flare Blitz, so I double switch into my Coalfish, expecting him to go into his Crawdon and I could intimidate him. However, I forgot that my Entei was faster than his Tangrowth, therefore my Coalfish would switch out and I would get the Intimidate on his Tangrowth rather than his Crawdon. However, he switches into his Zodino anyway, so it's really irrelevant. I go for the taunt on his Zodino with my Coalfish because I figured that I could stop him from setting up Wishes and Thunder Waves and such. He switches straight out into his Crawdon, however, and I got the taunt on that, meaning it can't set up, which is actually a pretty good thing for me as well. So I just start setting up Toxic Spikes on him. He crunches me a few times. I didn't think that he was going to have a spinner on his team. Didn't look like he had anything that was a likely spinner. So I just set up the Toxic Spikes and left my Quillfish there to die, expecting my Toxic Spikes to be up for the rest of the game. So I go straight into my Sceptile here, wanting to scare him out and not wanting him to set up on me. I go straight for the Focus Blast because I knew he was going to switch out. He wasn't going to sacrifice that Crawdon this early. He goes into his Audino and I get a critical hit. However, it didn't matter because I could have taken him out the next turn anyway. So he brings in his Hitmonchan, likely to go for, I was thinking to go for the setup move or something along those lines. However, he goes for the Rapid Spin and I bring in my Rotom just to take a fighting type move if it was coming, and unfortunately he Foresights me when I go for a substitute, so now he has the Rapid Spin and the Foresight, and therefore my Toxic Spikes are gone, and I am very unhappy about that. But I am behind a sub now. I have a chance to do quite a lot of damage to this Hitmonchan, and his names are really confusing me because, yeah, anyway, so I go for a couple discharges while he breaks my sub, and he's down to the point where he's at 1% health, and I'm hoping right now that he's either going to switch out, or he's going to stay in and fodder himself out, and I can also use this chance to fodder out my Drapion. However, he doesn't kill me with the Drain Punch, and he actually lives the next toxic damage with 2%. And I'm hoping that he would just kill me off here and we would both die, but unfortunately he switches out into his Crawdon, which is a very good play on his part because now he can set up anything he wants, and he takes his opportunity to set up a substitute, and I am fucked right now because if I don't take out this substitute, I'm getting swept. No doubt about it. So I have to sacrifice my Sceptile, go for the Giga Drain, take out that sub, and I die to a Crunch, of course, because Sceptile is very, very fragile, and Crawdon is very, very powerful, so that's pretty much that. My Hitmonchan comes in. I know he's going to switch out because he doesn't want to stay in on a Drain Punch. Unfortunately, I didn't want to risk it and go for the Ice Punch because if he stayed in, or if he went into his Entei, I would have been basically screwed. So I decided to just go for the Drain Punch. He brings in his Tangrowth here and goes for the Leech Seed, and now is a perfect opportunity for me to sacrifice my Drapion, get a free switch into something, and I finally get to get rid of this thing. So I bring in my Entei, knowing he's going to switch out. I was thinking he would switch into his Entei, but he actually switches into his Hitmonchan, and I go for the Stone Edge, take him out, even though it's resisted. He only had 2% health left, so not really a big deal. He brings in his own Entei, and this was a terrible play. He goes for the Bite, and I don't know what the hell motivated him to go for the Bite. I don't know what made him think he should run Bite on an Entei. That's fucking terrible. But anyway, I take him out with a Stone Edge, one hit him. I am Choice Banded, so it is a powerful, powerful Stone Edge. And he brings in his Tentacruel, not his Tentacruel, actually, this is a Tangrowth. It's just named Tentacruel because he's an asshole. He goes for the Sleep Powder as I go for the Stone Edge. I got a crit on the Stone Edge, do 56%. However, it's not really that big of a deal because by the end of this turn, he's actually going to be all the way up to almost 75% health, I believe, after Leftovers. Oh, no, he's at 65% health still because Leftovers took effect before that. My bad. Anyway, I bring in my Rotom and I go for the sub, knowing that he would likely go for the Sleep Powder or the Leech Seed. And he does indeed. I get a free sub off, and he has to go for the Giga Drain here, which gives me the opportunity to go for the Pain Split, get a little bit of health back. And this turn, I know he's going to expect me to go for the Substitute again, and therefore I have the opportunity to go for the Will-O-Wisp and get residual damage on him instead of deciding to go for the Substitute, because I didn't think he would expect me to keep attacking him because I could Substitute and avoid his moves and get a free sub. However, at this point, I think he's expecting me to continue going for the sub until I feel comfortable with him keeping on going for Giga Drain. However, I know that that's the case, so I just keep going for Substitute longer than most people would. And he actually goes for the Sleep Powder. I get a free sub up, and I get to Pain Split him down to about 50% health. So at this point, I'm pretty confident in the fact that he's not going to go for any more Sleep Powders or any more Leech Seeds, because not that he's going for Leech Seed on this yet, but he's not going to go for any more status moves because he knows that it's just screwing him over in the end. So I decided to just go for a Discharge to get as much damage off as I can, and I'm thinking maybe, just maybe I'll get lucky. He'll go for a Sleep Powder and, you know, expect me to keep attacking him. But unfortunately, he goes straight for the Giga Drain. At this point, I'm basically just kind of having to sack my Rotom because I can't keep this up. His fucking nicknames, god damn it. His Tangrowth is just gaining too much health, and I'm not gaining enough health in return, so I have to sack my Rotom. Now, I bring in my Hitmonchan thinking maybe he'll stay in and I'll get lucky. Unfortunately, he switches out into his Crawdon, which gives his Tangrowth the Regenerator health back, and now he can bring it in. He's back up to 54% health, and I cannot take this down with an Ice Punch, unfortunately. And he's going to go for Sleep Powder, and at this point, I'm thinking it's GG. There's no way that I can come back from this. I have a Sleeping Hitmonchan, and he's got a Tangrowth, which has just enough health to live a couple burns with Leech Seed, so I'm basically fucked, is what I'm thinking. And I don't wake up the first turn, of course, and I don't wake up the second turn, which is my first chance to actually wake up, and he goes for the Giga Drain. He should have went for the Giga Drain first turn, because he could have had me killed on the second turn. However, that was a very bad play on his part to go for the Leech Seed. And I do wake up, and I go for the Ice Punch and take him out. It's actually his own fault that he lost, because if he had gone for the the Giga Drain on both turns, he would have been able to take me out. And it might have even came down to a tie. If he couldn't have taken me out, it would have came down to a tie of me killing myself with Life Orb. So, he basically lost because he decided to go for Leech Seed and get greedy. I don't think that was a very good play on his part. I personally would not have done that. But, whatever, that's his choice, and good game, and I hope that you enjoyed the battle. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future, and see you later.